All right, so the next one, Amazon DynamoDB. Amazon DynamoDB is database. That's what the DB stands for. And it's a fast NoSQL database service. So it's really there to support transactional queries. And when I say transactional queries, it's when you have an ID of sorts and you want to pull data based on that ID. So when it says NoSQL, it just means you can't write SQL statements against this database. So you can't join tables between DynamoDB tables. You can't, what else can you do in SQL? So you can't select which fields that you're after. You'll just get the whole complete data payload back. And so what DynamoDB is, it's a platform to host data. So if you can think of it, say like an Excel worksheet, and an Excel worksheet is a representation of a table in DynamoDB. So it's really a no fuss kind of platform where you can host a data structure of sorts, kind of like an Excel sheet, and then you can read from it and you can write to it, and it's pretty quick, and you don't actually have to look after a lot of infrastructure things. So if you think about the traditional database, you've got something like a Microsoft SQL database, and for that you need Microsoft SQL software installed. That needs to be installed on Microsoft Windows, so Windows Server or Windows. And then you also need the hardware, and then you also need to configure the networking so it actually can connect to your application that you're running. And then you need to make sure that you've got whatever security updates you need. You need to make sure that you've got a firewall in place. Yeah, you need all those things set up. And again, much like any other serverless platform, Amazon handles all of those infrastructure sort of things for you. All you need to do is define a name for your table or your DynamoDB table, determine who's going to be able to access this table and what data is being stored. And then you just need to define what type of, I guess, capacity. And when I say capacity, I mean like throughput capacity. So read-write capacity. How much data do you want to be able to provide per second, basically? And that's how DynamoDB is. It's all consumption based on how much you consume or how much you store, I believe. This knowledge might be a bit dated, but DynamoDB used to be based on, it might be RO or RU, something like, it's some sort of unit of measure for how much data can be read or written per second. And that's just what you got to pay for. It's just a capacity. How big is your pipe into your table, basically? What else do you want? So no SQL, as I said, everything is based on an ID. So you need to basically have a primary key on your table. You can have indexes, or you can sort your data to make it a little bit faster. What else? It's got a whole number of these features, encryption and on-demand capacity, global tables, and it just handles a lot of things for you. Yeah, so it's just a nice place for you to store small sets of data. So you could front it with a whole bunch of Lambda functions. So in my previous session, you could be using Lambda functions to read from your DynamoDB. You could have another Lambda function to update and another Lambda function to create your records. Anyway, that's all I wanted to cover. Thanks.